This was the first ever design of Bluey's future baby from the episode Surprise, and I am sure it is not any surprise that it looks almost 100% like Mackenzie, but blue.
Wait, what?
G'day you cheeky dogs, Bluey has started an official behind the scenes channel and released a video about the design of Bluey's future kid, as well as the older versions of Chili and Bandit that they had done as well. So let's talk about it.
Let's just say it was supposed to be left up into interpretation.
So yes, this does look like a blue Mackenzie, and it is funny that the designer Trudy Monteith thought that it would somehow be super ambiguous and that the Bluey fandom wouldn't guess who she had drawn inspiration from. Absolutely hilarious.
We were mostly playing around with different crossbreed potentials.
It is cool to see though that in all the design ideas of Bluey's future child, the child always had a bent ear like Mackenzie's, and some of the body types you can see are also a bit stockier, more like a Labrador similar to Jean-Luc.
But then you chance. I got an idea.
Which, in case you missed it, the creator of Bluey, Joe Brum, did say that the pup was supposed to be an even mix of those two characters. And that interview, as well as my breakdown of it, I'll add onto the end of this video as well, in case you haven't seen it before.
As well as her color palette. And then to create her child's design, we then mixed and morphed all these features together alongside the potential other parent.
But with these designs, you can see a more circular nose like Jean-Luc's on only one of them, with some of the rest having bigger snouts like Bluey and more triangular noses, and smaller ones like Mackenzie. However, they did keep the Jean-Luc option for the final design.
Tried to reuse as much of an existing rig as possible, and that character rig was actually socks.
It was also cool to find out that Bluey's future child was rigged on socks, so they didn't have to recreate a whole new character. And they also showed how they did this with adult Bluey as well, and literally just recolored Chili so that they didn't have to recreate all new animated movements for her, and they could just use Chili recolored ones.
Her body shape and her limbs are mostly from Chili because she only appears on screen for a little bit. We obviously want to not make it too much on rigging team.
The only thing to note is that we did get to see a full body shot of the cool armor toy that the child was wearing, but even this was still not the final design, as you can see the line at her feet is wavy, maybe a nod to Mackenzie's, whereas the final version has a straight line between the colors like Bluey's. So perhaps they were a little worried that it might have leaned too heavily on the Mackenzie inspiration if they decided to change that. As for Bandit and Chili, I will be doing a breakdown of that section of the interview in my next video that will be out tomorrow, so don't forget to hit all those buttons down below so that you know as soon as it drops. And as I mentioned before, here is the video breakdown of Bluey creator Joe Brum's interview about him making the child an equal mix of Mackenzie and Jean-Luc.
Ooh, Bluey's gonna marry Mackenzie. No, she's not.
Hello, Bluey.
Ooh, here comes your baby. Pop, it's a baby boy. It's a girl.
G'day you cheeky dogs, we have some fun and very official news about Bluey's future child from the creator of Bluey, Joe Brum himself. He has now talked about the specific breed that Bluey's child is, as well as the gender. So if he's talking about it, then so am I.
Will I have children when I grow up?
Maybe. Depends if you want them.
So let's start off with the gender, and yes, ta-da, gender reveal, it is a little girl.
It's a girl.
This was revealed on the Gotta Be Done podcast with Mary and Kate. They are both journalists, and if you didn't know, they are the original Bluey podcast. They have done multiple interviews with Joe Brum as well, and they reached out to him to confirm some things about Bluey's future child.
I'm a journalist, so I thought I'd better cross-reference that with the source. I did email Joe and ask whether that was what really happened and if he'd like to elaborate or confirm. And he said, yes, that was my approach with Bluey's kid at the end. I thought I'd have some fun, though in hindsight, it might have been clearer just to make her a little miniature Bluey so it was clear it was hers, as some were left confused.
And in his response, he did refer to the child as a girl. So before I go on to what he said about the specific breed and the father of this little child, what do you think about Bluey's future child being a little girl? Let me know in that comment section down below, and while you're down there as well, don't forget to hit that like button if you love Bluey as much as we do here, as well as that subscribe button and that bell for notifications, so then you know whenever I release any other Bluey videos. But let's talk now about the official father of this little girl.
Daddy?
Just heard Joe Brum speak. I'm not sure if this is spilling tea or a bombshell or something you were already aware of, but the MC at this conference just asked Joe Brum whether Bluey's future child was sired by Jean-Luc or Mackenzie, as there was some ambiguity and lots of conjecture on Deep Bluey Reddit.
And it turns out that it is a perfect mix of Bluey, Jean-Luc, and Mackenzie.
Yeah, so apparently Joe asked the animator to draw a puppy that was an equal three-way mix of Bluey, Mackenzie, and Jean-Luc for the simple fact he knew it would drive the Redditors crazy.
Now, take this as you will for whatever type of canon this would create within the Blueyverse and the series itself, like whether it is a poly relationship or how this would work genetically. Is it something else? But the real reason as to why this little girl pup is a perfect three-way mix is because, first of all, Joe Brum basically wanted to play a joke on the fans.
Was my approach with Bluey's kid at the end. I thought I'd have some fun.
The second reason, though, is because he didn't want to seem racist.
Though, in hindsight, it might have been clearer just to make her a little miniature Bluey so it was clear it was hers, as some were left confused. But then, of course, you get it in the neck from people who think I'm discouraging race mixing. Haha.
Now, obviously, he has gotten a little bit of backlash about this before, especially with season 1 and season 2, where there being a lack of mixed breed dogs and puppies in the show, but by season 3, this was mostly rectified with any like new characters or new background characters being added in, showing more of a mixed breed kind of situation. It is interesting though that it does seem in hindsight that he thought that maybe he should have made her like a direct copy of Bluey because of the confusion as to whose child it was, and in his mind it was clearly Bluey's and not Bingo's, but obviously a lot of theories came up about it maybe possibly being Bingo's.
I've had another baby.
Jeez, not a Raya. You're pumping these things out.
So this is his official way of saying no, it is definitely Bluey's little girl pup. And honestly, overall, I like the idea of her being a little girl. I think it really plays into the idea of how a lot of people think that Bluey is a boy because she's blue.
That's Bluey.
Oh, yeah, because he's blue.
I'm a girl.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Same thing, this little pup had, I guess, slightly more like boyish colors as we would generally see it in society, and of course being like all dressed up in the little like shooter gear. But I think again, it plays really into the fact that toys don't have a gender, they're just toys, and same thing with colors, they're just colors. So I like the idea that they try to sort of play on this fact as well, and that she also has a little girl, and perhaps that then also leads to a spin-on series. As for the design being a perfect three-way mixture, I do think that is a very funny joke, especially towards the fans. I love that Joe Brum is very into fandom himself as well, so I do think that that's really funny. However, I do think that like an easy way they could like work this out is basically if they ever did a future spin-off show or something like that Bluey's husband would then perhaps be a mixed breed themselves of being a border collie mixed with a black lab. But cheeky dogs, let me know down below, what do you think about all this news about the breed being a perfect mix of both Jean-Luc and Mackenzie, if they're both the fathers, if it's a third dog? Let me know all your thoughts and feelings down below, and what you think of Joe Brum playing this massive joke basically on the fandom for Bluey. If you also want any early access to my videos, as well as some personal live streams, Q&A sessions, discounted merch, and all those kind of things, and want to become an official Cheeky Dog member, you can click that join button below now as well to become an official Cheeky Dog. But until my next video, I have picked you Cheeky Dogs out a few other videos that maybe you would like to watch, and I will see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!